Yeah, but still, they're always. Hey!
If we're gonna talk, just keep listening. I'm gonna click record.
All right, Alex, it's been forever. How do we start this usually?
You count it down and then you
forgot.
introduce us.
All right. So 3, 2, 1. Let's record a podcast. Hey, everybody. My name is Jake,
And I'm Alex.
and this is Uncut Games, the no longer weekly Replay Cafe Talk Core podcast. Today we are joined by Jordan Sherman from Immortals and Joel. What's your name again?
Oh, my name, Joel Graves.
Joel, put the mic a little bit closer to your mouth. I want to hear.
Is this better?
One
You're
fist
crispy
away.
now.
One
Yeah.
fist away.
Joel Graves here.
All right.
Our Esports Manager, as you may recall from his last episode.
What were you?
on Uncut,
Episode 13? 3 or 13?
There was a 3 in it, maybe.
Probably was.
20.
But we're here, oh my god, I've lost my mic filter. It's all problems. This is what happens when you don't record for like 2 months. Guys, how are you doing?
Great. Doing really well.
Jordan, this is your second time in the space, yeah?
Second time here. Yeah.
But first time meeting me.
Yes.
How's it
think
going so far?
I think we've connected pretty well.
I
We
think
hit
so
it off
too.
like old friends.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's because you've been here before. Like, you felt completely comfortable. You knew where to sit. You guys talk about the coffee shops. We talk shit.
Yep.
If you're a local coffee shop, I talk shit about one of you, not both of you. We're
I
all
know
good.
these guys pretty well already. So.
Yeah. Wait, so which one did you get? Because I see one in your hand, right?
I got a lavender iced coffee.
You got a lavender ice. How is it?
It's pretty good.
Cool.
It's okay. You can taste the lavender.
That's
I
what
thought
I.
it looked like tea to me.
They do have teas.
Oh, 1 second. Alex, we got it?
I just feel like Jordan's not coming through super sharp.
Should I go closer?
That's
You
much
sound like $1 million now.
All right.
All right.
Well, they said one fist from the microphone. This is like
Yeah, everyone's got a different size
Yeah,
fist.
I got-
It's like how they used to measure in feet, but
I
like
had a baby fist.
I also have a baby fist. I got it from my grandpa. One day I was walking around yelling, "Why do I have medium small hands?" And my grandpa jumps next to me and puts his hand out, and then I put my hand next to his. Identical hands.
you do have kind of small hands for a tallish guy.
It's a problem in photos. You'll see me, and then there's this like baby hand. One time my brother was looking at a picture that we took here of like me holding a controller, and I was editing footage, and he's like, "Whose hand is that?" I'm like, "That's my hand." He says, "No, it's not." I raised my baby hand to show him. They're not like, you don't look at them though.
This is why you had to get good at Photoshop, so you could just like trace the outline of the hand. And it,
Yeah, girls are out there like changing all parts of their stuff, but I just need my hands to like upscale.
Yeah. You can never be a quarterback. That's the whole thing is hand size. with
No,
quarterbacks.
I can't play that sport. I used
whether
to
you
play that
can
sport.
throw the ball or not doesn't matter. It's how your hand looks while you're doing it.
Yeah, these days it's all about the photo op. Jordan, you play any sports in high school?
I played basketball.
Really?
Played ice hockey.
Okay.
Still do. In fact, I played last night. And
Wait, you played ice hockey last night?
I did. Yeah.
In an ice rink or outside?
No, well, so you can skate. So some of the lakes have actually frozen over, so I haven't skated this year outside, but I've skated last year. But on Thursdays I play in Southfield, so I'm in a league. And
Wait, are you? What is it? It's right outside the Southfield Library.
Yeah.
I live 5 minutes from there.
come on by for
Yeah,
a game. Thursday nights. You'll
I
be our
grew up
only
5
fan.
minutes from there. Jordan, are you out in Southfield right now, or because you just did you move
I just moved
back?
back. Yeah. So my wife and I have we have a 1-year-old daughter.
Your microphone is dipping
shit.
again. Sorry.
I'll pull it up.
Timmy's gonna be so mad with this particular podcast when he has to edit it.
We moved from LA to Michigan in August.
Okay.
And we're living in Bloomfield Village. I moved with my wife, and we have a 1-year-old daughter.
Mhm.
And I grew up here, but I haven't lived here since 2004.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you been in LA the whole time?
I was in New York and then LA.
Okay. Quick review, because as Alex told you about our journey in erecting replay, how we went to New York and LA.
Oh, no, I didn't know about that part.
We went on like a homework mission where we put a bunch of money on a credit card and flew to New York and then went to LA. I want to hear your review versus Detroit. This is something I like to compare because now we've done LA, we've done New York, we've done here.
In what sense?
Food, architecture, culture.
Gaming lounges.
Gaming lounges.
Okay, well, I think in terms of, well, let's just start with game. This space is amazing, I
Thank
think.
you.
Thank you.
The way you guys laid it out, like the warehouse style, like the natural light
We
of
got
it
that
all.
from New York.
Oh, interesting. Because I
Yeah.
was going to say, that my first thing was going to be, you can't find a spot like this in New York unless it's millions and millions of dollars
I think
and
theirs is.
impossible to find. Yeah.
We at one place we went to, like, did Alex? I don't know. He's told you. We went to one place and we knocked on the door because we're talking about impossible to find, and they peeked their head out and they're like, "What do you want?" And then we got in and they showed us around. They're like, anyways, yeah, this is Casey Neistat's personal like stream lab that you've been recommended to go to. This isn't for you, and thank you for coming. And
Yeah.
showed us back out.
Oh my gosh.
So
Yeah, I feel like this place to me feels like a little bit like East LA or like Silver Lake, maybe like out in Brooklyn in terms of like the style and the brick and the architecture of it all. So there's that. I would say I really liked living in LA. I liked being on West Coast time. I thought that was just like nice to be like 3 hours behind everybody. Like you kind of wake up in the morning and like shit's already happened.
Is that why?
Yeah, that's
Oh my
great.
God.
I like that idea.
And then when you get to like 6 o'clock, like it's already 9 o'clock here, so it's just like a little
You're
bit chill.
sleeping in no matter what.
Yeah, and people like are a little bit more understanding. They're like, we can't bother Jordan. It's like 6 a.m. You know, like we gotta wait till he wakes up.
Oh my God. And you wake up.
Texts don't come through till noon.
All
Because
the
sometimes shit like
social-
resolves itself.
Yeah.
By the time you wake up, so you're like, oh, good. You know, you have 12 emails. You're like, oh no, and then you see like it got figured out.
That's what I had today. You texted. You were very kind. Probably best guest ever, being like, "Do you need 30 extra minutes or whatever?" And I got out of the shower to reply, "No, but Joel already resolved
I
it
was
for
up.
me."
You
I
wanted the
saw
extra
it.
30?
No. I saw the email and no one had responded to it yet. So I was like, "Yep, we're all
I
good."
was-
Some of us are sleeping. We've
And
been
some
up
of
till
us were
6
in
in
the
the
shower,
morning.
Joel.
well, that's your fault for staying
What
up.
were you doing at 6 a.m. in the morning?
I'm always working.
League of Legends.
I played League of Legends, and then which is work related ish.
Yes.
And then I had to cut some video stuff together.
And now you're here?
Now we're here.
I don't understand
You're
how you're
awful.
awake.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
And then I started watching a show called Single Drunk Girl or something.
What?
I heard
Is
about
it
this.
narrative based,
It's pretty good.
not like YouTube?
What is it
It's
on?
it's on Hulu, but it's from Freeform, which is apparently ABC Family.
Stop.
It's
I
new,
hate these
but it's
companies.
like about this like. I mean, I'm not going to pitch the show, but
All right,
it doesn't
no.
feel like an ABC Family show at all because it's like very grown up and adult, and like she's going to AA and dealing with all that. I don't know what it is, but shows that deal with addicts, oh, I can't get enough of them.
Or do you relate to them at all?
Oh, tons.
Is it because what are you addicted to?
Not sleeping.
Not sleeping.
What am I not addicted to? I specifically don't drink or do drugs because of my addictive
I've
personality.
always wondered why. I thought you just thought it tasted gross.
Well, I'm sure I would not like the taste, but I would probably love the feeling. And if I got there, who knows if I come back? How could I be this successful?
You just have to pick the right drug.
Let's talk about Jordan.
Jordan, what drugs do you do? I'm joking.
So, Jordan, you have said that you did a lot of sports and you have a history. I mean, if you want to run us through the whole
Sure.
life
Yeah.
cycle of Jordan Sherman real quick, and then we'll nitpick every detail of it.
Great. So I grew up here. I went to University of Michigan. I was in the business school. I moved to New York and I started working in sports. So my first job, I worked at Arnold Palmer Enterprises, which is IMG. It's an agency. So I worked in golf. And then I actually worked at a law firm for a year and a half in New York. And then I got an opportunity to work in Major League Baseball. And specifically at MLB, they put me, this is like around time Farmville was on the come up, and they put me on,
The game on Facebook?
yeah, so this is like 2010.
Oh,
So-
right. I thought I thought it might have been a neighborhood in New York for a minute.
Oh,
I wasn't
you
sure.
don't remember the game Farmville? No, you guys.
mean, I
my
do remember
grandma
it.
like played the shit out
I
of
remember
it.
getting
Yeah.
invites to play Farmville and thinking, who the fuck is playing Farmville?
Okay, so maybe you guys are too young for this, but like in 2010, Facebook was like real and like a thing, and they started building these games like Zynga and all these companies started building these games. Farmville was a huge one, and everyone was like, "We need to come up with a Facebook gaming strategy." So Major League Baseball, we came up with this Facebook gaming strategy, and I was like one of the younger people on the team, and they were like, "Oh, he's like
De
knows how to
facto.
work a computer, like
Yes.
he can do this." So I worked on a couple of different games, and it was a really cool game. And basically, the game was like you could build your dream baseball stadium, taking pieces from other baseball stadiums, and you could kind of build it any way you want. And then we could sell sponsorship inside the game, so you could sell like popcorn and hot dogs and beer and things like that. So I got this really cool entry point into like working on gaming, but also trying to like generate revenue from the game and like with our partners.
Were you involved in the design of the game or?
Yeah, so we actually did like a 3-piece strategy with it. So we did one JV with EA Sports, which is about like picking players, and you see that a lot. EA does that with FIFA now, like it's like the My Team special type of stuff. That's kind of what it evolved into. One we did with a group where they built the game like Ballpark Empire. It was called. That was like we just like went in deep and like we owned it. So we did a licensing deal. We did like a full in deal, and then we did a JV deal with a different company that was like a home run derby type of game.
Okay.
So we probably went a little bit too ham. Like I think usually they would tell you
This
like,
is ambitious.
pick
Yes.
one strategy. Don't like pick like 3 really intense strategies.
What if
at
one doesn't
once.
work?
Yeah. So like, well, if one doesn't work, maybe we'll kind of do the other one. But like the advanced media side of Major League Baseball, which I worked on, was like very digital focused. Like they did the first ever MLB.TV live stream like 2002, and that's become like its own app and all this stuff. So I got this opportunity to work in like sports and gaming and entertainment. So I was at MLB till 2016, so 6.5 years. And then I thought, well, I kind of wanted to be in the NBA because the NBA was like very young and social driven, and I thought innovative in like the way they brought the technology. I've been looking to like make a move outside of New York. So I got an opportunity to work at the LA Clippers. So I was there for 2 years and it was a great experience. Worked hard, made a lot of friends. We were successful. And then somebody recruited me and said, hey, the GenG is coming from Korea to LA, and they're looking for people from traditional sports. So in like, this is 2018 now. A lot of esports companies were looking for people from traditional sports because I think the thought process was, esports is going to be just like traditional sports. So why don't we just go hire a bunch of people from traditional sports and have them do it? And I think now in 2022, looking back, that probably wasn't the smartest thing in the sense of just like, I think a lot of people think gaming and esports is like number one, sports, and number two, it's like riding this wave. But the truth is like you're really building a boat. And what attracted me to the gaming space wasn't like, oh, there's so many people playing, or oh, I think this is like a gold rush. What attracted me was, I think it's a really fun business to work in and like kind of sink your teeth in, and the flexibility and the creativity in it. What I didn't realize was like I actually made a lot of friends and like people I think are like really collaborative and cool in this industry. No offense to MLB or the NBA, but it's like it's just ultra competitive, and even team to team. Like at the Clippers, we didn't like chill with the Lakers, and I didn't like hit up the Celtics. Like, hey, you guys want to like do this and this? But in gaming and esports, I think there's like a lot of people because like they're so passionate about this. They want to find ways to make it work. And I find that really similar, with Replay Cafe and what we want to do with Immortals. But anyway, I was at GenG for 3 years and it was great. We were selling partnerships. We were growing the company. I was the first person in LA. It grew to like a 20-person group. And then I got recruited to go to Immortals. And I said, well, I'm interested, but I actually think this company could use a differentiation, like a different approach. Because if the approach is like, let's just go after what 100 Thieves and FaZe Clan is doing, I think it's going to be an uphill battle and really hard to like differentiate. And I put together this thesis, and I worked with the board and the CEO at Immortals at the time. And the more and more we dove into it, we were like, oh, this is a really good idea. Like there's just no reason for every esports team to be in Los Angeles. And if we're the first team that's like, no, we're actually going to go and be in a different region where we can be a one-of-one with a large market, we can change who we are to fans, to players, to publishers. We can like create inventory and structure around this that has like a long-term play that doesn't take away from what 100 Thieves or what FaZe is doing, because we want them to be successful too. We need to play against people, but it just gives us an opportunity. Like they're specifically not going to go in this path. So we put together the business plan. We announced it in November. We've been executing on it, and it's been really successful and good. And I think it's good because it's just a good idea. And I think we're gonna crush it, basically.
I hope you do. I mean, like, what I want to ask is, like, was it a hard pitch at all? Because I feel like what you're doing is definitely what nobody else was doing, and that's not always easy. I feel like me and Alex are very used to having people go, thank you, and close the door in our face and be like, you're crazy, right? Because, like, here, there was nothing like this prior, or if there was, it was a very different model. You're used to people in this place not thinking things can work, and I don't know what it's like on the coast if people are like, why waste your time? Is that hard for you to make that pitch initially?
So I put together this like whole 10-page business plan, and I was like really, really nervous about it.
10 pages is the gold standard for an unfinished idea.
Yeah. And then I was like, and then the first question was like, well, how fast can you do this?
Okay.
And I was like, oh, okay. If you guys are going to commit to it, then I'm going to commit to it. I'm going to go all in on it. And I think for you guys, it's kind of similar. It's like, the first question is like, is there an audience for it? So is there people in the Great Lakes and people in Detroit specifically who like want to game? Yeah. So that's one. Two, is there somebody doing it already? And if not, great. And if so, like, can you beat them? So same thing for Replay. It's like, there's people that want to do this, and there's really nobody who's doing this here. And then the third part is like, do you have people running the show who will do whatever it takes to be successful? And if you kind of put those three, I mean, this of course is oversimplified, but if you put those three things together, it's an interesting thing to an investor. It's like, nobody's doing it. There's a big audience for it. And I don't want to do the daily work, but there's someone else who does want to do the daily work. And I trust them that they're going to be up till 6 a.m. like playing the games, cutting highlights, thinking of new ideas, like being in the store, and like if it goes down, at least I know that they're gonna do whatever it took to take it as long as they could.
Mm-hmm. I recommend giving yourself no exit and making it certain doom or succeed.
We're all in, baby.
Well, I mean, it's classic back against the wall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's when people come out firing. It's like there's no going back.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like everything you said.
You're speaking our language.
Because it's 100% true. We were talking with we call them Diamond members. We had B. Gonzalez and Nessa here every day for like 6 months, and Bo is his name. B. Gonzalez was working, doing some government job, and suddenly he quit. And he's like, I'm going back to Texas. And I'm like, I've seen you every single day. What do you want to do? He's like, I want to do this. He's like, I'm here every day. This is what I look forward to every day. I hated my job and stuff. He's like, how do I do it? And I was just thinking, like, get ready to live with your parents. Like, you're going to like want to be 5 minutes from work and living with your parents, cut all your expenses and make this. If you don't make this your life, it's not going to happen. Anything you want to do, if you really want it, that has to become your whole thing.
yep.
I feel like I kind of resonate with that. Like going to LTU, pursuing a game dev major like that. When I was in high school, I was like, this is something I'm interested in. I mean, like I feel like in my day and age, who isn't really interested in video games, at least in some aspect. Mm-hmm. And then when I really got down to it, I hate coding. I hate kind of the atmosphere of game dev, especially in like you hear horror stories of game development at like, the big AAA companies. And then it's like, I got my job at State Champs and it was like, esports, this is cool. And then I got into the club and then, now I'm here.
Right. I think that speaks to the importance of like college as not a networking experience, but just like
it is. I feel like you make a lot like college.
But I don't want to call it networking. I want to call it like realizing what's wrong. Like for you, like you go for the thing you think you want, so you can find out that that's not what you really want, and you'll tangentially slide into the thing that you really meant to do. Right. Like I went to school for journalism. I learned to do Photoshop in one class at the end of my graduation, and now I do everything
because of his tiny hands.
Because of my tiny hands.
Yeah. Well, I think back of that too. Like I have. Like if I had a regret, I would say like I kind of wish in college, in my first few years after college, that I was a little closer like with my friends and even people I didn't know and thought a little bit more entrepreneurial mindset around doing stuff with people I liked. I feel like I was so focused on like my existing job that I had and like, does my boss like me? Am I doing this job? Am I like crushing it so much? And like,
am I crushing it?
Yeah. And like,
I love
no,
that.
I wasn't. I was like, fuck, maybe I should have just like, in addition to all that, talked to my roommates, talked to my friends, thrown together some business plans, started a social media thing just to kind of get the side hustle experience to see what could have happened. And if nothing happens, that's okay too.
Right. Well, nothing will happen. I wanted to say, I was thinking about it this morning and stuff is like, this came about because every person I met who seemed to have something going on, I try and like do something with them, and it fell through every time until I met Alex. That was like 6 years of dudes in bands, people putting together movies, people who wanted to do other business ideas, talking about it for 2 weeks, and then it falls through. And then you just meet one person who's going to continue to show up, and that's the experience you get. Eventually, you're writing it out, and you're chilling on the couch.
It's funny that you say that show up because what I tell the staff at Immortals, it's like, believe it or not, in gaming and esports, like right now, 95% of this thing is showing up.
That's what I said to myself this morning as I saw Joel reply to the email.
I was like, the bar is like kind of low. If you just show up and you're about it, you can actually really make an impact and a difference. It's not like that in the NBA or MLB because people, there's 100 years of history. But here, it's like you can actually make a difference by showing up and doing the work.
I think that I know you're talking about like the relation between Replay and Immortals and especially the Great Lakes region. Like we showed up, and I think what we quickly started to realize is we didn't know what we were doing, but there have been people in different pockets building their own boat, like you said. Like State Champs was like, fuck it, we're going to cover esports. We're just going to do it. It's our thing. It's sideways. And then we show up in a meeting with them and all of a sudden, and then there's Joel sitting across the table. Or there's the guys who were doing, it was called PvP, which is player versus player. And now we're working with I guess they were management or what was Caps? They were all buddies running a place that did like a console focused thing. And now we're working with them on that and tapping into their network. And they're going to be at Frosty, right? Next week? This week? Next week?
Next Saturday.
Next Saturday. Cool. But everyone's building their little pocket, and all we have to get them to do is to agree that this is a regional project. And all of a sudden, talking about boats, rising tide, all boats up. Like,
Yep.
everyone's got to knit it's got to be a fleet.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. And there's a lot of, for whatever reason, there was like all this pressure put on gaming and esports, I think, to be global. And I was always just like, why? It's very hard to be global. This is like a brand new industry.
Right.
Like McDonald's started with one restaurant. Like they didn't just automatically have restaurants every country.
Now they sell real estate.
Yeah. Why do you think there was so much pressure to be global?
I think there are actually some misconceptions about esports and gaming. Of course, that's not earth shattering. But one big one I think is that everybody thinks it's just like a digital and social land
Because
grab.
the internet is global, so is esports.
Yes, but I think what people miss about that is that what actually brings people together is like the connections that they have with the people that they game with, and that's why I think places like this are so important because this is where you come for like that real life connection. And you could always game at home and you could always be on Twitch, but I think what COVID has kind of taken away and what we've lost a little bit is just like when people come together through gaming. That's like when the real magic happens. And as Immortals, we are trying to be focused on, okay, well, how do we like recreate those moments in pockets that don't exist and don't happen? Because that's how you really create lifelong fans. Like no one's going to love Immortals just because they saw us on Twitch for like 10 years. We have to like show up in their community, I think.
Absolutely. It's hard to love or like truly care about someone who does not represent you. And anybody who's representing the globe, that's that's a million miles of abstraction. So like I like the Tigers because the Tigers are a mile that way.
Yep.
And they represent me, and when they win, I win. My community puts something forward, and I'm represented, and people have to look and say, they got it. Whatever they got something magic, and it's the town or it's the people. I don't know what it is, but you feel special. It's
You
great.
and Norris did that great interview where he got so excited just talking about it. Like, that's my team. Like,
Yes.
That was a good Norris
I watched-
impression.
You actually know
Norris,
really good
don't.
Norris.
That was an amazing
I think
Norris.
I've said this before. Your Norris is nice.
It's because we share a name.
Is it? Yeah, it's something in the name.
The name is definitely throwing everybody off at my company on the
Really?
email. Well, so we just hired Norris. And so, because there's like two, it's an uncommon name, Norris. So one has it as the first name, one has it like as the last name. And
They're on every email thread together.
They both have glasses. They're a similar height.
Like a few months ago, I thought you guys were the same people.
What?
When you initially said Norris is coming to talk about Immortals, I'm like,
This guy speaks in the
happening?
third person. I'm
Third
gonna go.
person with my last name.
Well, it's funny what you said about representing you, because I think that's true too. I listened to a speech a long time ago when I was in college, and there was a guy who was representing Axe, like
Body spray?
Axe body spray and all this stuff.
What?
And he specifically said, if you're a brand for everybody, you're a brand for nobody.
Exactly.
And he's like, we're specifically a brand for like, we know our demo. It's like young men, and we specifically don't want to be for everybody. And Axe was actually pretty legit at the time. I don't know what it is
Is there-
now.
And young men don't have enough products for them.
Yeah.
I just wish that when I went to go buy a product for me, it wasn't wrapped in what's that metal with the X's in it, like the hatched. You know when you go in like the shaving aisle and everything's like flames and like metal textures. I just want to
Well,
buy.
that's locked away, you mean?
No,
Or
no,
you're
I
saying
just
on
mean like
body wash?
the advertising. Like,
Oh, yeah.
why is everything?
Barbasol or
Why is my
Yeah.
deodorant called Gunsmoke?
Yeah.
I'm fine with baking soda
the-
or whatever's in it.
heteronormative, totally heterosexual, in your face masculinity.
I actually
Yeah.
just think it's weird and it's the same way that a fast food commercial talks to me, where it's like, "You want to fucking eat me, don't you?" And I'm like,
You like that?
"Yeah, why are you
roast
talking to
beef.
me that way?"
What do you guys think about like esports? Talking about consumer products.
Yeah.
Esports teams buying like consumer products. Like 100 Thieves bought the hardware keyboard company, and like I was thinking about it because of soap and stuff. But
What about them specifically buying it? What do you guys?
or just that concept in general, like esports teams buying or selling products that can be bought by consumers.
Cash grab.
Cash grab? What
Yeah.
do you mean?
I think it's just like, unless they're doing something intended for the betterment or to improve on something, it seems like a total cash grab to be like, well, we're a gaming thing, we better sell gaming things.
I'm going to agree with that. Unless it's like for the betterment of like the industry, or like you're like actively promoting something that's good. I feel like you're just like, hey, we have this thing now, and we're also like doing this, and we're good at this. So why don't you buy our stuff because it's branded by us?
Can I get a little bit of an education real quick? So are we talking about, like, I think when I go to 100 Thieves website and I just see like a bunch of sweatsuits and stuff, is that what we're talking about, or is there something
I think-
more?
Not
I think
merch.
the
like
apparel
peripherals?
is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
They recently bought a hardware company that makes headphones and keyboards. So I was wondering,
I don't
You
mind
think-
this stuff. And I'm usually against this kind of thing, but the way I think about it is like, especially in sports and esports, like brands are a part of it. Like look at a NASCAR car or a NASCAR vest. Like this stuff is so expensive to run. You got to have multiple ways to bring in the money. And I don't know if it's cynical, like to just try and push it on the fans and stuff like that. But like, I've never felt sports is a place for, moral purity or something like that.
If we were going to go out and buy a bunch of HyperX headsets and then write Replay Cafe on the sides and then mark up the price.
Yeah, I think that's smart. I think that's great. Like, I think that having a little bit of an ecosystem, like for your branded content, cool. I don't know. I'm the guy who only had band T-shirts in high school.
I feel like it's unfair for the consumer.
Why?
I mean, like Alex just said, you're marking up the price for a similar product. But if you actually have something that is unique, I think then that is an opportunity there. Like I said, as long as you're doing it for the community, the betterment of whatever product it is, I think it's fine. But if you're like Alex was saying, you're getting this and you're just marking up the price because it has this name on it, I mean, what's the point?
Yeah.
What do you think, Jordan?
I don't know. I go back and forth on it. I mean, overall, like we're looking for more ways to make money as a company. Like we just have to. That's the way the world works.
Tell us about it.
And it can't always be sponsorship and like league revenue share from an esports team. So if we're not gonna have like a stadium for a little bit, or we're not gonna have parking or concessions or season tickets,
Right.
I really liked that for a little bit. Just a good little slip in there.
I mean,
we heard that.
We definitely want something to happen for sure.
We'll talk after this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to figure that eventually, hopefully, you got to work with like the publishers and the leagues and like how that works. But what you would hope for is like to have a season. Have like I think that it either travels around to all the different places, or you could have some home games. So like, let's say like big thing pie in the sky would be like, League of Legends theoretically or whatever, Overwatch, anything. That was like traveling around, and like if they asked us like, okay, well, where do you want your home games to be? It would be in the Great Lakes region. So if we could get every team here for an event like that, like they had in 2019,
That would be sick.
that would be amazing. Or sorry, go ahead.
Oh, well, I just think I want to tie this back into what you were saying about when you're for everybody, you're for nobody. And if your mission as a team, specifically speaking of Immortals, is we are a team for currently the Great Lakes region, because nobody's here, so why pick one state, the Great Lakes region? And then we start selling some stuff that advocates for that spot, like puts that spot on the map. I don't think that's bad at all. Even if there is a markup, like I'm not going to lie, people are used to buying $70 jerseys for teams.
Yep.
If they're cool with it and what they're feeling is represented in that, and it's the first team to say, this is our spot, you're from here. You're not like fronting or lying to anybody. You came back to where you're from. I think that's a net positive. That's good.
I agree with that. I mean, you guys are here to build up esports in the Great Lakes region. I especially like you guys' merch. I forget what it's called. It's like the Zero Profit. Or,
Zero Profit.
Yes, yep. I think that's cool.
Yeah, we just did like all new merch. So basically, two things there. One, we just said if you want to be a fan of Immortals, we're not going to take any money from our merch. So everything that we offer for our merch is. We literally get $0 from it. We just want people. You have to pay like the wholesale costs. And
right.
Stuff.
You make back what you paid for it.
Yes.
And after that,
it's zero profit because we just want people to buy it. That's one. And then two, I was like, okay, well, we have to like redo the way this thing looks because it needs to represent the Great Lakes. But we don't want to we don't want to lose the teal. We don't want to lose the helm. We don't want to alienate anyone that's like been around for a long time with like a complete new thing. So last week we launched. I'm not sure if you guys saw it. It was new jerseys. Lakes and sky, and so obviously we wanted to do like the representation. So I thought it's cool because like obviously the Great Lakes, but when you look you see a reflection of yourself in the water. It's kind of like reflecting on who you are. But then when you look up into the sky, that's where it's like the possibilities of kind of like what could be. And Immortals is obviously something that like lives on forever. So the idea is that it comes from the sky. So I thought, I know it's just branding, but I think it's really cool for like where we are as a company. For like, okay, we're like kind of looking at ourselves in the mirror and in the lake, and like what could be is like up in the sky.
I like that as branding way better than all the McDonald's that just turned gray for no reason.
Turn gray?
McDonald's is grayscale now.
Oh, the red and yellow's gone?
If every new one I see, they've turned the outside gray, and it's like they painted all the red roofs gray. And I think there's just a terrible trend of making everything gray currently and slapping some orange in it. But I'm just saying, I like anything that is not cynical. I don't know. I feel like the vibes are off in the whole wide world. So anyone who can like put up anything aspirational and have it not feel hollow, what you're talking about, Great.
Yeah.
Good. More, please.
I think you guys landed the identity and like kind of captured that the Northern Lights Midwest aspect of it. I do have a
Say it. Say it.
Pit the Nick.
what is with this new trend of these teams selling off the rest of their identity to the biggest bidder and putting the biggest thing on the jersey is progressive?
The entitlement. Yeah. Well, a couple of things. One, they just announced that you can do entitlement sponsorship. So TSM went with FTX. That was like a monster deal. And Dignitas went to QuantaPay. And for us, I mean, we had been with Progressive previously, and they're from Cleveland, and they're from the region, and they care a lot about like helping the esports scene move forward. So I think it's really similar to like kind of the consumer products situation that we're talking about. Is like we have a major Fortune 500 company that's from the region that cares about this audience. Of course, they have a product too. They're insurance, but they're helping us up level our players, our boot camps, our trainings, our facilities. They're helping, create events here in the area for us. And we have, we want to do those things. Like if we don't do those things, then we can't like achieve the goals that we want. So I think it's kind of good for us that it's a company that's like from the region and like really cares and like trusts us to do it versus someone who wants to come in. I mean, in Progressive's defense, like they could have really pushed back across this like whole brand identity, and they went with it. And our main contacts there love League of Legends and are huge supporters of it. So I don't know. I feel like the right supporters, we need the right supporters in this ecosystem. Otherwise it's gonna fall apart.
I don't mind the support. I don't mind putting logos on jerseys.
Okay.
It's just the front and center aspect of it where it's just like, this is our new identity.
Does it bother you in soccer?
I don't watch soccer.
Okay.
It probably would. I think just like aesthetically, it really throws me off. Coming from like a basketball or a football mindset again, like, and I know they do
Basketball's patches now.
Yeah.
patches, but I'm never gonna see like, I don't fucking know.
WNBA does it.
I can't imagine seeing the Detroit Lions progressive and like having them rebrand, and they have
the
Ford
Tigers
Field,
play
and that's great.
at,
I'm okay
Comerica
with that.
Park.
But even that's a little bit like we lost Soldier Field and is now whatever like TCF Center. I don't know what these things are called. I just think it's really weird that brands are buying so much of our vision, eyesight, identity. And I know it's like pretty popular in Korea and Europe to have that, especially in esports. I mean, the biggest, SKT is literally just name of the team.
Yep.
So I get it, and I get the need for funding and all of those things, but like it feels like an identity shift in a way.
Do you guys feel like it's a temporary compromise? Because like we said, there is Ford Field, and like you said, there is no whatever company arena for League of Legends currently. The best real estate you can offer them is branding, merchandise, real estate.
Yep.
And it puts them the most front and center because, you know what I mean? Like if we're talking about Ford Field, I just said Ford. They don't need it on my shirt.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
It also legitimizes everything, I think, is what we've been having the most struggle with, is making the point to everybody that this is very serious, that there's a real untapped market here. If Progressive goes, yeah, we agree, and I don't think they're stupid, whatever else they think about them, I think that's legitimizing, at least temporarily.
yeah, it's definitely legitimizing. And for us, it helps really unlock long-term stability for the company. So we can continue to be around and do what we need to do and have someone behind us that's like, yeah, we think these guys are doing it right. I mean, I think there's a difference between someone like that and maybe someone who is a sketchy company, or someone that came up overnight that like, it's not Theranos.
Speaking of sketchy a little bit, I don't know. Like, I think Progressive, I like it. I think it's insurance. I mean,
Better than Toyota.
Why is it better than Toyota? Toyotas are the best cars you can get.
Listen, I'm going to
We
go
have
to
Toyota,
the cryptocurrencies. I think it's kind of like borderline gambling, right? Like you're kind of like promoting this thing. I mean, like,
Wait, insurance is gambling?
no, I'm talking about like FTX, TSM. Like it's like,
Is FTX a crypto company? I'm just stupid.
Yeah.
Are they? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
so it's weird. That's kind of the aspect where I think Alex and me agree. It's you're promoting like gambling essentially because there is risk.
I mean, I'm all
agree
for
with you on
gambling.
Well, so I agree with you on gambling. I always felt uncomfortable about gambling when I was at the NBA because they were talking about putting sports books in the stadiums and stuff. And I was like, do we want people to like bet on the home team and lose and like be mad or like run on the court? Like, So gambling makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable because it's like you could lose money itself. The other types, like Ford Field, for example, that doesn't affect your personal wallet type of thing. But now gambling was like the biggest no
And
forever.
it's kind of like slowly crypto. It's structured gambling. There is a lot of risk that goes in with getting into cryptocurrency. Stuff can just crash and it's like, oh, I just lost all my money or things like that.
Yeah, but at least there's uses for cryptocurrency theoretically, like especially in the future. I don't know if there's if you bet on the Lions tomorrow, I don't know. It's like it doesn't matter. Long term, that stuff doesn't matter. But
You lost the money already.
Yeah, that's it.
That's hilarious. Yes, I feel like gaming historically has a confused relationship with companies in general. Like the way we talk about, say, like Konami or something, or we're like, oh yeah, or Activision or something, like, oh, they had a scandal and harassment or whatever. Like, I was such a fan of Activision. Like, bro, what is this company to you? They just produce the game. Like, if you want to be a fan of a specific designer, like a Kojima, excellent.
Yeah,
You can't be going to bat for Konami in the first place. You shouldn't let your feelings get tangled up in this company that, inherently is going to do wrong one day. Someone's going to be at that company, do something wrong. It's made up of millions of people.
Yeah. Well, I think what we're talking about is actually really interesting in the sense of like where the esports industry goes, because there's no guarantee that these leagues are going to be around for 5 or 10 years. So is the gaming industry really just going to be totally separate from esports? And maybe it's just like facilities like this and like hangouts, or is there really going to be like infrastructure around seeing the best players in the world compete with each other on stages? And who's going to support what, and is there room for both of those to coexist? And we'll see. I mean, part of the reason why we're doing this Great Lake strategy is because I think we need to be flexible in the sense of like, who knows what's going to happen with the leagues? I mean, Microsoft bought Activision 3 days ago.
Yes.
I think that I am an avid World of Warcraft fan, and I love it.
Yeah, I'm actually 100% for this. Sounds great.
You're for the purchase?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because it was ballsy. Yeah. And it doesn't fucking make a bit of difference. Like, you everyone's seen those webs of like who owns who? You get to the top, 10 companies own everything.
Yeah.
And the truth is, how about Sony versus Microsoft, like they're equals. Microsoft could buy Sony tomorrow too if they wanted.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to change anything. And I think it shows like Microsoft's understanding that they don't need to compete in the console space. They need to compete in a content space.
Yep.
I think
And they're the bigger fish.
Because like I said, World of Warcraft has been my main game for like the last 2 years, and I've been following for like the last 10. I think specifically with Activision Blizzard, with all the stuff that's been happening over the last, I think this is kind of a change of pace, kind of like a rebranding, hopefully some different leadership and some
feel the same way.
decisions that can help build up, the games. I mean, they have like Call of Duty and all these other good things. I mean, I've talked to some of the Call of Duty players around here, and they like the game. There's some stuff wrong with the game, and hopefully things like that won't happen when the games. I think it's overall betterment for the gaming community, for the games that Blizzard Activision offers.
I think something you can look at specifically is the way Microsoft has been handling. This is all I fucking talk about, but the new Halo, like the way I'm pretty sure whoever runs 343 is the vice president of something, like way up at the top of Microsoft. Like it is like a priority within that major company. And the fact that they dropped $500 million to take 5 years on a game, and it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. I want someone to slap the shit out of Activision and say, stop releasing annual updates for $60, you criminals. Like, stop robbing these kids.
It's okay.
But they did that with like Madden and 2K.
I want
and all
them.
the games.
Okay. Sports is a little bit different.
Because it changes.
Because it changes. But even like you see the Rock Band games and stuff, at some point they're just like, yeah, cool. Rock Band 3 is a platform. We're just going to keep releasing songs. Because what am I going to keep doing? Releasing fake instruments like for $150? Like we're losing
this
money.
is the saxophone.
And here's a
And
saxophone.
a flute.
Right. I think we talk about like what's predatory within gaming. And I think Activision and EA, the largest publishers you can name, are the most predatory currently. Way more predatory than the fact that Progressive is on a jersey front and center. I don't have to look at that jersey if I don't want to.
Yeah.
I've never seen that jersey, so I don't care. But I know that I had to drop $60 on 12 copies of Vanguard, and that game blows a little bit. It's not great.
Well, you should look at the jersey, number one.
Okay, I will.
But number two,
Agreed.
Think about what Microsoft tried to do. They tried to buy TikTok.
Uh-huh.
They tried to buy Discord.
Uh-huh.
and now they're with Activision, and I think it's actually really good for the industry overall because it's showing like, okay, they didn't buy Activision to shut it down. You know what I mean? Like that they bought it and they paid for it in cash, which means that they think that their stock is going to go up as a result of this long term. Otherwise, so that's a very bullish indicator. Otherwise, they would pay for it in stock.
Well, they made Sony's stock go down.
Oh yeah. That. Although I saw a tweet today that said they're going to keep Call of Duty and all the games on PlayStation.
They're going to write out the existing contracts, and I think they'll renew it too. Because again, for them, if they own Call of Duty,
more people buying the game is good.
Yeah,
you know, and so I think it's gonna be really good. But how do you guys think it affects Overwatch and Call of Duty League?
This is a question for you two. I don't know.
Well,
I think Overwatch is dead, so it doesn't matter to me.
I mean, like I said, I think it's good for the gaming community, like the game, not even like the esports, just gaming period. Overwatch was expected to come out like, I don't know, like it was supposed to be out now. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to release at the end of 2021. And I don't really follow Overwatch or Call of Duty that much, but I mean, from Overwatch, people are telling me
Don't tell me that. You're the esports manager here.
I mean,
Joel plays favorites,
People have
League and
different
Valorant,
levels
bro.
of things they're knowledgeable on, but in terms of Overwatch, people are
Leave
telling
alone.
me that it's not going to be out until 2023. And I mean, you're delaying it an entire. I get COVID happened, but
Well, I hope it's a good game.
yeah.
Like that's what I'm trying to say. Like, take your time, make something good, and stop ripping people off.
Yeah.
Everyone saw Cyberpunk happen. Don't forget that.
I think in terms of going back, like I said, World of Warcraft was like generally like really, really good. And then the past 5-6 years, it's been downhill because what ends up happening is they release content that's not finished, not polished. And then the long term, like people like me will end up playing it, but it's like they lose out on so much stuff. And it's unlike Riot. Riot will just wait to release stuff until it's essentially perfect. And I think,
What are you talking about? They have never made their own game.
what do you mean?
I mean, Valorant's a CSGO reskin. League is a Dota reskin. Fighting games could be made by a toddler. Like, they perfected
But I'm
that
just
in
saying
1999.
they're good though. People are playing them. They are very popular. They are done successful.
They're properly aestheticized.
I think at the end of the day, the acquisition of Activision Blizzard by Microsoft will be good for all games. You know, it won't be the push for, we got to release this, but let's actually release something with quality that's good for you know, generally the gaming atmosphere as well as, I mean, we're a company, we're looking to make money. Let's wait. Let's get more things on this so when we release this product, it's hot.
I agree.
yeah.
I think it might be the best thing that I think it might save Activision.
All I'm saying is I
It's
have
I like
like
it
a
too.
league. I mean, we have an Overwatch team, LA Valiant, and hopefully, you know, Overwatch 2 comes out and is like a good game. So full disclosure, we're incentivized at Overwatch.
Sure.
It's a good game and the league is successful. But how can you say that the bring in of Microsoft would make that less likely unless they're like, who cares about the league? Let's just focus on the game.
Right.
Which who knows what they're going to say. But if it was me and I was running a Microsoft, I would say, let's like try to make this, let's like do a deep dive on the league and like talk to the team owners and try to like make this thing work. At minimum, it's an asset. And if you lose money on it after 3 or 4 years, then maybe you make a different decision. But to just come out up front and like not invest in that, I would just be surprised. It'd be a weird thing to buy something like that and then shut down the league.
I think something you bring up a great point talking about losing money. Like, we all know that Microsoft loses money on Xbox, and I think this speaks to a wider trend in media where companies have had less money, because people have had less money, to splurge on ambitious projects. So you get Pirates of the Caribbean 7, and you get all these things because it takes a lot of money to make a movie, make a game. What you're putting out has to be a sequel, unknown IP, for that to recoup. And even the investment that you had to beg some dude to give you, you know, the millions of dollars sunk. If you come in with big pockets, you can come in with big ambitions and greenlight projects that might not go in an economy where everyone's cash strapped and has to make that back. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So having Microsoft, who has an incredible pain threshold for money, good. I hope that this brings back a lot of stuff that you didn't see.
Speaking of losing money,
What, Joe? No.
I don't want to speak about losing money.
Joe, all we
It's a
talk
good
about
and
is
bad
losing
thing.
money.
Every
So I
day.
invested in Activision Blizzard back last March, and I lost. It was down 40% as of like last week. It has jumped up since the announcement of the Microsoft acquisition by 30% It's just like it was like this, and then it went all the way
Wait
up.
a minute. Are you talking to me in 1 minute about like how for this FaZe Clan thing being gambling, but the next minute, Joel, your stocks are up and down
I
in
am
gaming?
understanding. I know the risks, though. I'm just saying for other people, they may not know the risks. I mean, you have people who are under 18 who are minors.
Joel, you know what
who
I
look
hear?
at these games. I'm just saying, like, they some of these people don't fully understand the risks that go along with. I understand. I'm gonna like investing in things I can lose money, but not everybody can understand that.
I hate all these drunk drivers ruin it for the good drunk drivers. Me too.
I want to pivot this whole conversation back to Jordan. Jordan, some of the things we talk about are like your childhood in gaming and like how you got into it, as well as if you're an only child. We also know that you have a Judaism background. You're Jewish.
I have a Judaism background.
That's how everyone reacts when that gets brought up to them.
that.
Yes, great.
So funny.
So I was wondering if any
Was
of that.
online? I don't know if we've ever talked about
I
that.
take a deep dive in everybody. So I was wondering if.
Spoke to your rabbi.
Yeah, we spoke to your rabbi. We've got some mutuals across Facebook. You know, it's all good. So I was wondering if any of that plays into how you got into gaming. So it's interesting to me that you went for sports coming out of college. And
You
like, that's
have
where
to tie in the Judaism thing quick, because that was a crazy throw out.
No,
and then
no.
you're like,
Well, because I saw on your Facebook, so I took a deep dive on your Facebook. I
Okay.
saw on your Facebook how you were kind of promoting
Yeah. I'll talk
Jewish
about this.
gamers and stuff around that. Yeah.
So,
there you go.
So two things. So I want to be involved in like philanthropic things, but I need to feel like connected to it. So when I first got into gaming esports about 3 years ago, I connected with someone named Lenny Silverman, and he said, I think that gaming can help bring together Jewish people from around the world, because what's happening is just like, they don't really know each other. They can't connect through friendship and stuff. And I just thought that was a really cool story for, whether you're Jewish or whatever, like the power that gaming has can like bring people together. So it started at nothing, and I've been an advisor for it for a long time. And now they have podcasts, they have movie nights, they have sports, they have gameplay, they have this really active Discord. And there's over 5,000 Jewish kids playing from all over the world, and they're just like gaming together. So that was a cool experience for me, because I was able to take like my personal background and my business background and help serve as an advisor. They have like content creators and influencers. It's like it's a team. It's called Lost Tribe Esports. And I'm really proud of like the work that's done. And I think it's hopefully inspirational to anybody who wants to like use gaming as a way to just like connect people in general from different states, countries, backgrounds, etc.
to make a quick connection, I wanted to be the Jewish gaming king of Detroit, but it seems that you will unfortunately be that.
I'm just an advisor. I don't think I'm the king, but we're always taking new members.
Yeah. Okay. In the kingship or
the
kingdom or
Oh
whatever.
my God.
It's called Lost Tribe, and then if you're a member of the tribe, so that's if you want to join.
I'll put my resume in.
But I'm one of five.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the oldest of 5 kids, and I think because of that, like my parents, who are great, but we're mostly just like go in the basement and like play video games with your brother. So I just like did that my entire life.
What's the age gap between the 5?
So from top to bottom is 12 years. So my brother's 2 years apart. I have a sister who's 5 years, and then we had a gap. And then 12 years we had our twins, brother and sister. And I think that's helped me in a couple of different ways. One, even though we're brother siblings, I think we're really a different age. Like we're different generation. Weirdly, like I think I'm actually closer generation wise to my parents than I am to them, and that has really helped me. I think in gaming and esports, because even the conversation we had today about like progressive or is it good for a company to like be selling products and stuff like that, like this generation, like 90s kids, I would say, in a really good way, it's just like really more self-aware, really more like globally aware of issues. And I think those are things that like for like the 80s generation, it really was just like shut up and do your job type of thing, like it's not supposed to care about like, and I think that's because like the generation above us, like that's how they were trained as well. So now I think what we're kind of seeing across like this whole landscape is like you have companies that want to talk to young people. You have young people that are saying, okay, here are the issues that are important to me. You have some companies like, even a coffee company that is maybe going too far in that pursuit. And you have some companies that aren't going far enough. And I think like in general, we have to all kind of like we have to find a middle ground on this stuff. Otherwise, like nothing's gonna get done. I think we have to be a little bit accepting of like what happens, and that's why I feel like confident in my abilities, because I feel like I've just like sat in the middle of all this. Like I've gotten it from the older generation. I've spent a lot of time with the younger generation, and I'm trying to like bridge a gap in terms of like how we do all that stuff
between the digital and analog worlds that existed.
Yes, yes, and I think it's even showing based on like when people invested in esports to begin, like what they thought esports is and what gaming is, and eventually where it's going to go and what it's going to be, and that's why we try to get as many people like, well, we're going to do the events here. It's like I really want people to like see it and like feel the vibe and the culture around it. We sponsored University of Michigan's LAN event, and it was during the Michigan at Penn State game, and it was really cool. Like they had like 2 huge auditoriums. Everyone brought like their own monitors and systems. They had a drop down of the football game was on TV, and everybody was just like chill. It was super fun. It was great, and I thought it would like knock down a lot of stereotypes of like what it's like to be a student in the LAN center and stuff like that. So anyway, that's kind of a rant, but I think that my experience as being one of 5 has kind of helped me. And also, when you grow up around a lot of kids, it first of all it teaches you responsibility, and you like got to look out after other people, and a little bit of understanding of like you got to let other people shine. And we take that like course at work. Like we want to make sure that people have the autonomy and the flexibility to like run their own projects, even if like you want to tell them like exactly how to do things. You can't, because if you don't let them like run and grow and like be the person that they need to be, eventually it's going to hurt you because your company won't get as good as it can be. You need those people like to be leaders, and then they can kind of teach it down to the next generation. So like even as a small example, like we just hired Norris. He's like 3 weeks on the job, but he's going to help us activate. He's got this awesome idea for the summer to work with Riot and to do different Riot gaming events like in Detroit community spots, like go into the neighborhoods of Detroit, into like really popular spots, have Riot IP, do like gaming and all these activations for people who maybe don't even know Riot or do, but couldn't believe that Riot is there. And we gotta let him roll on it. You know what I mean? And he put together the proposal, and he put together this awesome idea, pitched it to Riot. I think it went really, really well. And I think if in a normal situation where you don't grow up around like family members and stuff, you might feel like, oh no, like I need to write this, or I need to put my fingers on it and stuff like that. But you kind of realize you got to let other people go.
We learned that here. My brother worked with us for 9 months.
Yeah.
And it would constantly be like, the aspect ratio on this is wrong. You're stretching this picture and stuff like that. So gotta let people be.
Is he still here, or did you have to let him go?
We would
He
never
let
let
himself go. Well, he was here last night. He works here on the Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay.
But, we learned that close proximity.
He needed this weird thing called money, and we aren't currently paying a lot.
No.
So what are the big events you guys have here? Like, what are you excited about?
Coming up, I think we've been talking, Joel and I talked last night with our Halo team captain, who, that's Mo, right?
Yep.
Mo. And we're going to do something big for Halo.
Wow.
His buddy, his name is Calder, has been running a Discord that's grown 1,000 people a week. And basically, I think it's out of disgust for the way 343 is handling their matchmaking. He's built a Discord that has a bot that auto matchmakes you into custom games with people. You can bet money on your games. It's a very active community, but
Wow.
the guy's like, yeah, give me a poster. I can get you signed up like 32 teams online, done in a week.
They were talking about like if we were to, at least have 2 weeks. They said they could get people like on an online event, 300 to 500 people like that, or probably even more. We were talking about starting smaller, and they were saying like it's going to fill up instantly.
What's it called?
So the Discord itself is called the Sauna, because it's kind of the idea of we're here, we're going to be sweaty gamers and try hard
like
and stuff.
that.
Like I really like that, and I like their Discord photo. But we were talking about them about doing online weekly leagues leading up into a huge LAN here in
March.
Probably March.
Yeah. Then there's the Valorant event coming up for the high schools, right?
Yep. We have a high school Valorant event.
When's that?
So we were talking about this earlier. So we're still having signups, and then we're gonna have a weekly online league from mid-February until mid-March, leading up into an in-person finals here, March 12th.
Great. And we're looking to do a couple of things with you guys too in June.
Beautiful.
And May, June timeframe, and then maybe again September, October. We're just finalizing it now.
I think, have I forgotten any events? I think we got one this Saturday. I just want to shout that out. That's Street Fighter 5 and Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
There's a 0% chance this is done by Saturday, but
There will be an event on Saturday. The FGC dudes have something every month, and I like the crowd they turn out. I like their energy.
You say Saturday like it's not tomorrow.
Joe, I don't know.
You probably lose what day it is in here. I
I
mean,
don't know. I like every day mostly.
I know my days off, and the rest of it is a work day.
Exactly.
yeah. So
Exactly.
how is business overall?
I think that it's been springing back, which is nice. I can't wait to have a conversation with someone where I go, yeah, that's when Omicron happened, and that's when everyone felt better.
Yep.
So
Full transparency, the internet may or may not have been turned off for a couple hours around here,
Yep.
but it's back on.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
yeah. How do I even fucking put it? Back against the wall every day. And we're still up against the wall after 2 years, which means we haven't gone through the wall.
But you think it's mostly COVID related, or do you think it's just
Always COVID related.
A lot of it is just previous debt that we took on because of the pandemic, so it's just like juggling some bills until we can hit
I
our
think-
Like
profit
if
numbers.
COVID was, let's say COVID was like completely wiped out. Do you have any concerns, or do you feel like that's like the major hurdle?
We're currently looking at an expansion, an addition,
3 times expansion,
Yeah,
I'd say.
so-
Square footage.
taking up
In
triple
this
the
building?
size.
No. Well,
Potentially, depending on some things about this building, but there's another spot that we're looking at over near Southwest that
Wow.
would feel more like
it would be perfect. It's like this neighborhood. It's a warehouse like this, but it's 3 times the size. It butts up against Dearborn, Corktown, and Southwest. And both Dearborn being a heavily Arab area, places like us are like Starbucks out. From everyone I've talked to who comes through here, like whether they've come from Jordan or Lebanon, they're like, yeah, I'm 22 and I ran one of these when I was 16 because it's that easy to put PCs on the corner because no one's got good home internet.
Wow.
Get a good connection. Kids are always coming here and be like, yeah, my brother ran one of these. I played CSGO every fucking day and I got in a plane and now I'm here. So and you put yourself up against that, and we had a lot of business from Southwest. Like these are 2 things we did not expect. And then you talk about like the Ford electric car plant being about to finish. And I mean, no one can afford Corktown now.
You bring
but
up a good point because we had our in-house Valorant tryouts these last 2 Mondays, and we had someone come out. He's a international student, and he was like, this is the kind of stuff we have back at home, and I really want to get into stuff and getting into the community. And I was really
getting back
struggling
into it 'cause they have it at
really
home.
struggling to find a place anywhere here in Detroit or anywhere in the area. And I mean, he's messages me every day. He's like, "What's next? What's next?"
Yes.
And I'm like, soon. And
I love it because they also bring out like their families and stuff, which is what we really want to have here. Is like you can bring your brothers, your sisters, and stuff like that. And there's people came last night. One dude was like, he had 4 hours. Everyone bought 1 hour, and they all came back up and bought 4 more hours and stuff like that. Because everyone's bringing their friends out because it's a local spot now. You know what I mean? And it's your spot now.
We for this Detroit concept we have for the summer, Riot was like, well, could you guys do something in Dearborn too? We're like, hell yeah, we could do something.
Yes,
in
you
Dearborn.
should do something in Dearborn.
So I think that'd be awesome. We're thinking about like which place to do it in, because we want to evolve it around food. I think like all different types of like Detroit style, food, like the big food spots. Like I kind of think that's like the good way to. So I was thinking like, okay, what's the best like hummus place, or what's like an awesome shawarma place?
I will start taking polls for you if you'd like to know, because they come in and people have brought us like shawarmas and falafels, which Alex won't eat, so I get to have double. And everyone's like, you've had it wrong. I got some Mexican hot sauces from people who saw me having cayenne and everything. Like, no, you have to have it like this.
Like addictive personality, can't have falafel. You're like, I don't want to start a falafel.
I'm
addiction.
extremely picky.
Alex has a
eater.
great story called No More Surprises about the time he ate fish when he thought it was chicken. And since then, he has not had.
It's a traumatic experience. My mother's not allowed to give me food anymore.
Wait, you thought it was fish or you thought it was chicken?
I was told all my life that it's chicken, it's chicken, it's chicken. And then at some point, I looked at the box and I was like, this is fish.
You were like 8, though, right?
I was like, really? It's just ever
did you
since
vomit?
there's
What'd
just
you do?
yeah, like I forced myself to throw up. I think it probably didn't taste bad, but it's like I had suggested. I was like, this isn't chicken. And she was like, yes, it is. It's the same thing you always eat. And I was like, it smells like fish. And she's like, you don't even know what fish is. So I reach in the garbage when she went upstairs, and I find the box, and I'm like, you lied to me.
You're laughing, but he's not going to eat falafel. He's going to order chicken. My housemate said the first time he met you, he was like, hey, man, what's up? What you eating? You just kind of looked one way and said, hamburger, hot dog, hamburger, hot dog. or whatever. Then he's like, "How's it going?" And you're like, "That's all I eat: hamburger, hot
I
dog."
can't remember that, but
That's fine.
it sounds like me.
It sounds
I'm kinda
exactly
that
like
too.
you.
I don't like when I'm eating food and someone asks me for a bite. I'm not really like, I'll be eating and my wife will come up, she'll be like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Get it," you know.
That is me so much. It's just like,
Or I'll be like having a drink and she'll be like, "Can I have a sip?" And then it's never a sip. It's always a gulp.
It's especially worse when they were presented with the opportunity for their own thing.
Yes, I was like, I could have got you this. I asked you if you wanted some, and you said no.
No, you guys don't understand. What I have is not interesting to me because I have it.
Yeah.
You have. Now, I don't know a thing about that, and I'd love to know.
Yeah.
And so.
eat or drink half of it.
That's how much I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll give you half back. Never mind that you wanted your own thing, obviously.
It is 2:00, so we have to open. So I'm going
That's
to have
true.
to
Cool.
cut us here. This episode is not brought to you by SpaghettiOs.
And it never will be.
SpaghettiOs.